All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again. And we already know that CNN is planning on trying to mute Donald Trump mic as much as possible and just let Joe Biden spew out a whole lot of bull crap. So now Tim Pool finna go ahead and explain how CNN say they will mute Trump's mic during the presidential debate. Now, this video is 23 minutes, but we only gonna listen to a little bit of it just so you can see exactly what's going on. It is crazy. And then y'all heard that they told the streamers like myself, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, a lot of us, that we cannot stream the presidential debate tonight because CNN already pretty much put in a hit saying if anybody stream this debate, they gonna strike your channel down. And that right there is ridiculous. They do it 2 days before the debate, and say stuff like this. This right here is just crazy. They trying to control their own narrative because they don't want Trump supporters calling out Joe Biden's lies. So we definitely finna get ready to get straight into it. Make sure you please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. Shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you who does that. Thank you very much. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and check this out, and you finna hear exactly what Tim Pool had to say about this. Let's go.
CNN has unveiled how their microphone muting is going to work. Dominic Michael Trippi says CNN is 100% rigging this debate. Here's how the ridiculous microphone setup will work. Check this out.
If we go behind the podiums, you can see 2 green lights. When they're on, they signal to the candidate his microphone is on. When the green lights are off, they signal to the candidate his microphone is off. Now I want to give you a sense of what it will look like for viewers at home if a candidate whose microphone is off interrupts a candidate whose microphone is on. So I'm standing at one podium, and I'll ask Phil to come in and take the other podium. And so let's say I'm answering a question. My light is green, and I'm speaking. Phil's microphone is off, and his green lights are not illuminated. He's going to interrupt me as I'm speaking, and this is what it will sound like. My volume remains constant, while Phil's interruption can be difficult to understand.
Now, let's try the opposite. My microphone is now on. Victor's microphone is off.
It's like for kindergartners, I guess.
Very much.
Me. My volume remains constant, while Victor's interruption can be difficult to understand. CNN's production team has shared this demonstration with the campaigns earlier today, and we're sharing it with you, our viewers, so everyone fully understands how tomorrow night will work. Now, we should note, by agreeing to participate in this debate, both campaigns and candidates have also agreed to abide by these rules. The CNN presidential debate airs live tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
I don't think this matters. I actually think it's going to be moderately tame. I think Trump is going to be in line. We saw the debate in 2020. It's not going to be like 2016 when he was saying you'd be in jail and all that stuff, funny stuff. It may be, maybe. But I also think that you see how close they are to each other in this video?
Trump can yell.
It doesn't matter if we can hear Trump or not. Biden can.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult to talk when someone's yelling at you or talking over you. And that's all that matters.
And I also think they're both hot-tempered to a certain extent. Definitely there are reports of Biden being pretty hot-tempered. So even being able to hear someone saying stuff off camera will be distracting and potentially sway any sort of coaching that he's had if he's thinking he's going to spar with Donald Trump directly. And, you know, if we're talking about his mental acuity, if he's easily confused, having someone talk to you while you're trying to make a point is not going to help.
You realize the power this gives Trump.
I'm telling you,
it's the guy whose bloodstream is entirely Adderall and adrenaline versus the guy whose bloodstream is entirely McDouble cheeseburgers from McDonald's. That's kind of what we're looking at, I guess.
Well, I don't.
Dr. Pepper too. I'm a Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
How could you say that?
But just check this out. Donald Trump hit the podium, and he's saying, "Look, we're going to have a very great immigration policy. It's going to be the best we've ever seen." And I'll tell you. And then he cut his mic off. And then as soon as you see the green lights goes off, he looks over and goes, "Biden, your mother." No one will have heard him say it, and Biden will go, "Hey, what's up, and Trump will just go, "Whoa, that
could happen.
What?
That could happen."
Cutting off the microphone of Trump doesn't hurt him. It allows him to say things the American people will not hear that will trigger Joe Biden.
It's you'd be in jail, but now it's just going to be in Joe Biden's ear. Like, we all enjoy the side remarks. On the other hand, it's just going to be Joe Biden, and the moderator's getting more and more deranged and irritated.
What if they cut off Trump's mic and he just starts going, "I'm coming for you, Joe."
He goes,
should do the
he's just
most
gonna go,
disruptive.
He's gonna like, how's Hunter doing? How's Hunter? Is Hunter okay? Like, he's just gonna provoke him in these ways that get really under his skin. I mean, I don't know that he will do this, but these are
Shouldn't
options
say that it was
are there.
great that you're talking to your granddaughter now.
Trump should do this because nobody will hear him, and Biden does not have the mental capacity to handle these kinds of emotional attacks.
He sure
One of the
can't.
things about people who are suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, we assume Biden is in deep, deep senility, is they have a harder time controlling their emotions. If Donald Trump says something like, maybe Biden's in the middle of an answer, and then he says something like, Donald Trump, convicted felon, and then Trump says audibly to him, and you are the worst father this country has seen. You're a disgrace. Shame on you. Shame on you. Your son's dead.
Yeah, I think
one will-
pretty much everybody on the Biden campaign is probably dreading this moment. That it seems like Trump, is very, very quick on the draw, and it's just everybody's expecting him to eviscerate Uncle Joe.
Well, that's also one of the things that I think works
That's
in
exactly
the
what's
Biden
gonna happen.
campaign's favor, right? I mean, the fact that we're all trying to figure out if Joe Biden can even make it through this tells us that the expectations for him are much lower than they are for Trump.
See, that's the problem. The Democrats think if Joe Biden just make it through, that's a win for him. No, it's not. That right there is not going to work. Can Joe Biden out-debate Donald Trump? The answer is no. He cannot. He cannot. Donald Trump is going to dog walk Joe Biden tonight. Mark my words. But see, the Democrats are trying to get Joe Biden to win if he can just withstand it. If he can just last the whole entire time. You ain't going to get no win that way. It's all about what you're going to be saying on that mic, trying to call Donald Trump a convicted felon and he this, he that. That's not going to work. The American people want to hear about the policy. Why is you allowing these illegal immigrants coming into this country? Why is inflation so high? That's what the American people want to talk about. They don't want to hear you try to call Donald Trump a convicted felon when you got a corrupt judge that donated to you that's doing all your dirty work to try to take out Donald Trump. We all know that. That's the reason why that attack on Donald Trump is not going to work. It's not going to work. So let's keep going.
Again, I think, I've said this a couple different times, but I think the best thing Trump could do is to push Joe Biden to answer directly on his records. Are you audibly gasping over there?
No.
Phil thinks I'm boring tonight. I'm sorry.
Every
I'm
night.
doing the best I can. You take that back immediately.
Look, if you throw
you're
meatballs
off the
up, I'm going to
tour.
hit him, all right?
You're off the tour. Anyways, I think ultimately the function of the debate is to see these two clash. It's like the long-awaited rematch between two fighters. People really want to see what's going to happen and what the time in between has done. And I think really the last 4 years have been marked by the fact that Biden seems to be less with it, and he has a terrible economy, and the border crisis is undeniable. In fact, it is so undeniable, it's one of the major issues in this campaign. Immigration is something people used to stay away from, and now it's front and center. I think it's going to be obvious that Biden can't defend his record, and it's really the emotional aspect of this debate that his campaign is trying to manage.
Tomorrow is going to be wild. I mean, this is history. It's a historical debate. It's outside of the Commission on Presidential Debates. It's the first time, is my understanding, that a president has debated his predecessor in an effort to win, for both of them to win the presidency. We've never had this happen before. And Joe Biden is an 81-year-old bumbling dotard. And Donald Trump is a reality TV real estate mogul who eats fast food religiously. I mean, this is
Big Mac King.
Big Mac. Wow. I mean, like, everybody who knows Trump knows he's a fast food guy.
Yep.
It's like you were saying, his blood is Big Macs and Diet Coke. And Joe Biden, you said Adderall. Oh, they got him on everything. I bet he gets stem cells. I bet he gets NAD+. I bet, what was the Myers protocol or whatever? It's a vitamin drip. They're
just like tons of B12.
Oh, yeah.
Like just
oh,
upping
dude,
it all
for
the time.
sure. I bet he's got a blood boy.
It's funny how many people actually are like assume this. But like I was talking to Connor from Counterpoints earlier today, and he was like, oh yeah, he's gonna have about an hour of whatever where he's gonna be all hopped up, blah blah blah, and then after that it's gonna be all downhill. I feel like that's essentially
pretty
what's
much
assumed about the guy. And
you know, it'd be really hilarious if just like halfway through the debate, you see Biden just with something in his leg, and then he goes. And then his pupils dilate, and he's like, "All right, let's go."
Hypothetically, they're not allowed to bring props on stage, so
It's
you have to sneak
an
it past the
EpiPen.
monitor.
An EpiPen is not a prop.
Oh, okay, for his
It's actually working. It works. It's not a prop. It's not fake.
No, I mean, the other thing that I found really interesting is that they can't interact with their campaign staff in the commercial breaks. So there's 90 minutes, two commercial breaks, and they both just have to, stand there?
Well, one thing that makes that interesting.
Now the thing is, y'all heard what Tim Pool just said, and then when we go over here on Twitter, better known as X right now, you'll see Laura Loomer. She just tweeted this out. She said, at Joe Biden, I will have it popped up on screen that way that y'all can see it. At Joe Biden, just refused to take us ahead of the presidential debate tonight. President Trump agreed to take. Biden is now refusing. This is essentially confirmation that Joe Biden is going to have to him ahead of this debate. Now, why did Joe Biden decide not to take it? If they ain't going to do nothing to him, why did he decline it? That pretty much just, tells you everything you need to hear. It tells us everything we need to hear. That Joe Biden is a clown, and they're going to try to do something. I told you, they're going to try to cheat. They already got it in his favor. You got Jake Tapper, Dana Bash. It's on CNN. They got these mute buttons and stuff like that. They're going to try to mute Donald Trump. Every time he's finna go in and answer a question, they're going to mute him and let Joe Biden just run his mouth. We already know that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, let's go ahead and get to the last little bit of this right here. And you're finna hear exactly what else Tim Pool finna say about this.
To happen if Trump is going to be credible.
So if we're talking about at the debate, what can Biden say? What can Trump say? It has nothing to do with that conversation about who's going to be running it. The question is, what will Trump or Biden say that will win over voters? The big weakness Biden has right now is that, according to Gallup, one of the biggest concerns, the biggest concern right now is poor leadership in government. And that is something Trump can easily attack on. If Trump gets ultra specific on, the reason I ask about Saudi Arabia is that over 100,000 people have been killed in Yemen in the past, 5 years?
Yep.
And that never comes up. Saudi Arabia recently, the petrodollar deal, the 50-year deal, expired. That's over, and they're not re-upping. So now they're starting to do deals in rubles and yuan. That never comes up. That is a bigger threat to the American economy and the American people than anything pertaining to Israel. That's why I mentioned that. And still, I will say this. If Donald Trump on the debate stage says, under Joe Biden's watch, the Saudi petrodollar deal has ended without an extension or a plan, the American people are going to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. It doesn't matter to me, and it will win over no voters, despite being probably the most important issue affecting the U.S. outside of perhaps escalation into World War III with Russia. Like if we're talking about what's going to happen to this country, you've got a handful of things that really matter. The petrodollar deal expiring with Saudi Arabia means China's going to start buying and selling oil in Chinese currency. And the U.S. doesn't manufacture enough to bolster its economy outside of producing dollars in the Federal Reserve. Without that deal, Saudi Arabia can dump oil into the market, undercutting the U.S. and destroying our economy, which is why we used to beg Saudi Arabia not to pump oil. And then Saudi Arabia, getting mad at the U.S. administration, whichever it may be, would be like, we're going to pump some oil into the global market, and it's going to screw over your numbers. That matters dramatically because we're talking about mass inflation, standard of living dropping dramatically because the whole system of petrodollar economics in the United States is built on U.S. military power. Without that deal with Saudi Arabia, and it's not the only thing that matters, but it's one of the most important, our economy is undercut. Then you can look at immigration. Then you can look at civil disorder and social decay at the government level and these various issues. These things matter the most, but are so far... They are so esoteric and so in the weeds, the average person is going to be completely lost if you try and bring it up to them.
Thanks for watching this clip.
Shout out to Tim Pool. So obviously y'all heard what Tim Pool had to say about the thing. They, like I said before, he's saying the same thing I'm saying. They gonna try to, they putting everything in Joe Biden's favor with this mute thing. Kind of, they act like people in kindergarten or something. It is just crazy. They act like people in kindergarten. But this right here is just crazy. This is just crazy. Ain't nothing but a rigged debate to try to help Joe Biden, but Donald Trump will still overcome all odds, and you can guarantee it. You can guarantee it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.